Do you ever have days where you're just exhausted? I don't mean exhausted because you didn't get sleep. I don't mean exhausted because you're stressed. You're just done, You're just ready to make a decision and stick with it. You feel like you've made your bed and now you can either lie in it or you can make a choice. Everything is about choices. We all have choices. Some are a lot more difficult than others. Some affect just us. Some affect maybe our major family and nobody else. And some affect maybe our coworkers and nobody else. But usually we always have choices. We always have choices. It's just that some are really bad choices and a lot easier than others. But do you just ever have those days where you get tired of constantly being told that you're the crazy one? And when you're around addicts love to, when you are onto them and when you have figured something out and you've realized that they have been lying to you or you've caught them doing something, they're not upset that they did that thing wrong. They're upset that you caught them. Their ego is now been popped because they're like, crap, what did I say or do that made that person catch on to me? What did I do that allowed me to get caught? What can I do differently next time? They're like, crap, I failed. I failed at lying. I failed at getting away with it. It's not, oh, I'm sorry. And then that person, usually addicts like to gaslight you and make it look like, well, I would never do that. How dare you think that I would lie to you? How dare you think that I would take a drink or do that drug again? I'm over it. I'm clean and sober. I haven't been drinking at all. And then when you know someone for a long time, maybe it's your sibling, maybe it's your spouse, maybe it's your child, maybe it's your really good friend that you've known for many, many years. You know them. You start to learn when they're sad, but they're hiding it, when they're stressed and they're hiding it, when they've got something on their mind and they're hiding it. And you start to learn when they're lying. So you give them opportunities to tell the truth on their own. You set up different scenarios in which they could come clean. They could tell you. You phrase things in a way that they could very easily come clean and tell you the truth. And you give them more than enough opportunities to communicate with you, to let you know what's going on, to let you know that they're struggling. And when they still don't, it's exhausting. I grew up having to take care of and deal with alcoholics literally my entire life since birth. I've grown up around alcoholics, cocaine addicts, my entire life. And I have had to put out a lot of fires. I've had to be the pooper scooper. I've had to suffer consequences and be held accountable for things that I did not do. I got used to cops being at my house all the time because of fights between my parents. My parents would beat the crap out of each other. My mom's been married 3 different times. All of them were addicts in some way. I've grown up around fighting and constant instability. So I ended up making my own dinners, making my own breakfasts, cleaning up and doing my own homework, not having help with my homework. And so I would seek refuge at my neighbors. And then a lot of them went to church. So I ended up going to church even though I didn't believe in God. I went to church because it was stable. It was safe. I felt like part of a community and I knew that those people cared about me. I was very annoying because I asked a lot of questions. I was totally the one that was in Sunday school going, why? Why? That doesn't make sense. Why? But I went because I loved the music and I loved the people and I felt safe and I loved the stability of it all. And when I would go home, my parents would fall asleep. Well, not fall asleep. They would pass out with cigarettes in their hands. And I would have to make sure that I put those cigarettes out so that the house didn't burn. And then somehow in the middle of the night, they would wake up and stumble around and light another cigarette. So I would constantly feel like I had to stay awake so I could put out the cigarettes so that the house didn't burn down. Or so they didn't get the keys and try to get back in their car and go out and drink some more, which is what they used to do. or they would throw things at each other and punch each other. It was ridiculous. And then I grew up with other family members struggling, and other family members having cops at my house for different reasons, and being woken up in the middle of the night because your child drank so much that they literally died and had to be resuscitated, or because they got in an accident, or because of so many things. And you just get where you live your life constantly on edge because you don't know if your family members are lying to you all the time, if they're going to be alive. You don't know. And then they're like, I don't understand why you're so uptight. I don't understand why you don't just relax. Relax. Why don't you relax? Why are you so on edge all the time? I wonder. Maybe it's because my whole life has been being the pooper scooper. And you know what? This is my choice. I mean, it wasn't my choice when I was a child. It definitely was not my choice when I was a child, but it's been my choice since I become an adult, and life is about choices. And I preach that all the time. If you want something done, you need to do it. You have choices, no matter how difficult they are. But it gets a little tricky when it's your family or your spouse. And when there's other complications thrown in. But again, tricky doesn't mean impossible. Doesn't mean you can't do it. Tricky just means that. Tricky, difficult, not fun, hard work. I swear there are days I just want to go live somewhere all by myself, isolated, like the movie Into the Wild. I just want to be left alone. I'm so tired of constantly never knowing if I don't want to say things a certain way because I don't want to tick off somebody. I have to walk on eggshells so that someone doesn't punch a wall or throw something or get mad at me or call me names. And I'm not complaining. I'm not whining. Well, I guess technically I am. I'm just saying this because I know there are so many people out there that have gone through all of this. And people say all the time, you can leave, you can leave. And I have. I have in the past. And I'm not perfect. I don't think I'm perfect at all. I have things that people need to deal with. I have things that I am struggling with. We're all just a big old shit show that needs to be, we're constantly needing to work on ourselves. But when it's your family, it makes it difficult, and you don't want to see your family struggling. You don't want to see your family hurt or unhealthy or dead. And when you try so many different things and nothing seems to work, then you're like, all right, what's the definition of insane? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. But again, as a mom, as a spouse, as a daughter, these things get complicated. I don't know. I talk about this stuff on my podcast all the time, and I don't think that people, unless you've gone through it, I don't think people truly understand how exhausting it is and how living in a constant state of chaos and anxiety and worry, being constantly worried if your family is okay and safe. If the phone rings in the middle of the night, you just assume it's something bad. So I am exhausted. I am on edge. I do need to relax. I would love to relax. So then I clean. I clean as a way of, I go all Monica and Friends, and I clean as a way of just relaxing. But I say this to anybody out there that's listening because I understand, and it is hard. But we do have choices. And sometimes those choices are really difficult and they're hard to make, but sometimes they're the best. Sometimes it's best for all parties involved. Sometimes the most difficult choices are the ones that end up helping and the ones that are needed. And I'm just struggling with that right now. So I just wanted to let other people that are going through this, just let you know that I understand and I get it. And sometimes we just need to step back, take a deep breath, prioritize, control what we can control. And the things that we can control, we need to do pros and cons, and we need to do what is healthy and safe, not just easy. Anyway, I just wanted to get that out there. And if you're all struggling, I'm sorry. And I'm sending you positive vibes.